Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. Sorry, we're a bit behind on time. We will try to be efficient. The goal of today's webinar series episode is about the logical models. So as a reminder, but of course now you know it, Hospital on FHIR is an initiative by XiA Europe, which has more than 100 hospitals across Europe and covers 40 different countries. And the XiA project is the Erasmus Plus project, whose goal is to create the training and dispense it to be ready for HGS. So we do that under the umbrella of the Pact for Skills, which is an European initiative whose goal is to help with upskilling and reskilling. So we are at the logical model phase. The next one is going to be about the European Lab Report implementation guide. And then we can go to create a FHIR mapping. So I will leave the floor to Hynek in order to present webinar number 5, XiA FHIR logical models. Hynek, if you please.
Thank you for the full introduction, Luke. And let me share my screen now. First of all, I should introduce myself a bit. I'm working for the Czech Ministry of Health, but in the past I was working as an independent consultant for many projects, and I'm also a member of XiA Europe and XiA Czech Republic, where I'm a technical lead. I'm just trying to find the right button, so I hope that you see the screen. And I need to find another button to move. Yeah, so that's me. I think that some of you might know me from European projects where I was leading laboratory and medical test result parts in a couple of projects. Okay, so what is the logical models? What are the logical models and why we want them? So this is the agenda for today. We would cover why. We would cover in the third point how to represent logical models with some examples and explanation of the mapping between logical models and implementable specifications. And at the end, a short summary. So that's the plan, the agenda for today. We don't have much time, so I need to be quick. So let's start with the introduction. So first of all, the definition. What is the logical model? It represents an abstract data structure, which includes or describes the entities with their attributes and relationships. And it is not a FHIR only specific technology. So this is a very general definition. So we are building the logical information models to reach the independency on technical implementations. So logical models could be implemented either using XiA FHIR or any other communication standard or implementation standard, like, for example, OpenEHR or others. And we want to build them because we need to express the functional requirements in a technology-neutral way. The goal for using of the logical models is to describe rather a business view on the domain. So we are trying to express a business data structure independently on the way how they will be implemented. In the same time, we try to capture functional elements before technical modeling. So that's the first step. Basically, usually we discuss the use cases. We are trying to specify what needs to be, from the technical viewpoint and information viewpoint, what needs to be captured at which moment. And then this is the input for technical data modeling. it also serves as a pilot reference for different systems or standards, and actually represents a non-FHIR technical data structures. Here you see the reference for the FHIR logical models that has been created in the XiA project. I believe that's the link. Actually not. So this is the specification of the logical models the link shows. Why the logical models are useful? I think that I already have captured a few of those reasons previously, but repetition is a mother of wisdom. So just to summarize, we want to analyze business requirements without being limited to FHIR resources. That's one motivation. In the same time, we are trying to build a coherent logical models in the sense that we are modeling every business entity just once, which helps, of course, to unify and harmonize the business data dictionary, because we need to not to figure out different names for the same element of the same entity. Another aspect of this is that at least in the XiA and XiA project, we were working in different business domains. We were trying to model 5 priority categories of FHIR systems. And for that, of course, the challenge was how to harmonize the work of multiple teams with different business knowledge. So the modeling approach was very useful in the sense that we somehow established a uniform way of naming and modeling entities in that approach. From the technical use case viewpoint, we can see the logical model also as a pilot, which points for mapping between standards or versions of the same standard. And it helps also to define a reusable design patterns for development of actually technical or implementable artifacts. And finally, it has been used to translate the logical models. I mean, the other FHIR tools has been used to translate into different, well, in our case, of course, primarily into FHIR standard, but in the same way, could be translated into different standards like FHIR FHIR version 3, the CBA model, or any other XML JSON formats. Actually, my experience from the Czech Republic, where we are using a proprietary national XML-based standard, is that logical information models built on our national standards are a very good basis for transformation tools that we built over last months using another tool from FHIR community, which is called FML. That's the formal modeling language. So that's the why the models are useful. I would add one more point here because that simplifies the discussion between technicians and business people. So for discussion with physicians, for example, it's sometimes quite difficult to just explain that we are using resource this or that to capture the information that the physicians wants to capture. Sometimes it's better to take the opposite direction. First, discuss with the physicians and model what their knowledge brings and experience brings. Of course, keeping in mind the way how we are going to implement it. So that's a sort of also Esperanto that helps discussing between technicians and non-technicians. As an example, the use case is a simplified patient logical model, which basically it we then implemented using different standards, like in this case, the FHIR patient profile, or HL7 version 2 PID segment, or CBA template of the subject of care, for example. Yeah. Sorry, guys, my wife just interrupted me with some message. I'm back. Sorry. So this is just the explanation how the uniform, let's say, logical model could be translated into different multiple different technical standards. How the FHIR plays with the logical information models. FHIR standard supports creation of logical models because this is part of its profiling, let's say, development tool set. It's the logical models in FHIR are specializations of based element types, either the element itself or base data type or resource, let's say. They are constrained using the structure definition with the kind logical. So if you specify a logical model, it needs to have this clearly specified. It contains a structure definition, that means some metadata, foundations of the model, and element definitions, which are the actual model elements. And for every element, at least the name, in some cases, definition, constraint, definitions, in some cases, bindings to code systems, and of course, cardinality needs to be specified. It could also hold the semantic or business constraints. And furthermore, to the logical models in FHIR, we can specify obligations, which has been also reused during the XiA project. An example of a logical model which is specified using HL7 FHIR standard. And once again, I would like to emphasize that HL7 FHIR technology is a technology or standard that allows building logical models. But those logical models are technology or standard neutral. So then does not serve only for FHIR implementation, but could be used for implementation in FHIR, in CiA, in other standards as well. So that's just the tooling that we have used. And you can see that in this case, the JSON definition of the logical model, which specifies the base patient information, like, and you can see the, let's say, visual representation of the model, having the elements, having the ID as a mandatory element with some data type here and a description. It could also have a long description. This is a so-called short description. If you click on the ID itself, then the narrative part of the specification will appear. Internally, those are stored as a JSON object on the file server. And as I said, it has several attributes. Here, for example, you can see that the kind of the resource needs to be logical. And the rest is just internal structures describing used to render the logical model in this tree view way, which is the standard way for FHIR publisher. Fine. So that's just an example. We can, of course, go into more if we will have time, showing the current XiHR logical models, which are now basis for the implementation acts. So also in the future, you will be facing new versions of those models based on the result of comitology and finally approved set of logical models. But logical models, as I said, describe, let's say, the business unit. To some extent, also, let's say, the function specification or needs of the business users, but are not implementable on itself. So they need to be transferred or translated in a particular implementation standard. In our case, we are speaking about FHIR because Europe has decided to use FHIR currently release 4 as the base standard for all new European services. So that's why I'm speaking mainly about mapping of the logical model to FHIR, by mapping to FHIR resources that implement those business requirements of business entities. In the past, we were using concept maps, resource which formally describes the relationship between the model elements and resource elements. Resources and resource elements. This formal specification allows to specify not only the one-to-one relationship, but also, let's say, type of the relationships. In some cases, the implementation is narrower or broader than the original functional requirement. So this could have been described using the concept map. In the recent versions of the FHIR IGs, we dropped that approach. And the reason was simple, because the concept maps were built mainly for mapping of the relationship between different code systems. So this way has been, let's say, the practice shown that this is a dead end for our IGs, so we dropped that approach. It means we need to use a structured definition instead of code system. No. This was really an approach we had some 6-12 months ago, but at this moment we replaced the structured concept maps. Sorry, the concept maps using simple tables with the same intention. So forget this this slide, because I think that nowadays the mapping is not using formally the concept maps, but actually has been replaced with tables which has a very similar functionality. Actually, they show how the original logical model element or entity has been implemented using the FHIR resources. And that's very important transition from the logical model into the implementation specification. That helps, on the one hand, the business analysts which develop the original model to track it to the implementable specification, to the right place there, and check if the original logical model has been, or functional requirement has been properly implemented. On the other hand, for the implementers, that helps to understand the business context of every resource in the FHIR. So just to summarize, the logical models are abstract, technology-independent data structures. They serve as a bridge between functional requirements and technical implementations, and they are foundation for mapping across FHIR and other healthcare standards. So that's a short summary. And maybe if we still have time before we will go into questions, we can just briefly go and browse the XiA models. And for that, I would like to ask the organizers if we have time for this or not.
Considering we were a bit late, I think we can take 5 minutes if you
So sorry, should we?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, if you will be searching for XiA new logical models, you should remember this address. And here we have logical models of all priority categories, as you can see. I would like to, and in the artifacts, of course, instead of those priority category oriented models, you can see also some common elements. So ESDS common logical models are here, and you can see how we modeled the business entities. Of course, because we knew that we are going to implement them in FHIR, those business models were highly inspired by FHIR resources. So, for example, if we will go into the observation, my favorite, typo, sorry, here. So we have actually two models, basic observations, which is a common model. And here there is a short introduction, and here is the tree representation of the logic model. All the data elements are on the left-hand side. And then we have the cardinality and the data type, which means that, for example, the patient is modeled as a separate logical model just once and reused across multiple different models and use cases. If we go into the narrative part, that's the snapshot table here, but the narrative detail description, you can see that this information could be extended. Here is the basic short definition here, description, which you see in the tree view, but the definition could be wider. Here you can see the opposite. Actually, the short name is longer than the definition of the, but that's a matter of the way how the model has been built and how much time and how much we want to extend the description. Here we have a little bit more. Oh, not really. The logical model allows also to express the binding to a preferred either code systems or value sets. And in some cases, not in this case, it also allows to record information about a business requirement that has been used to formulate the meaning or of the particular data element. This we have used, for example, to refer back to the original EOS network guidelines and data sets in that guidelines, which were the input, one of the inputs for this modeling approach. Finally, let me just show you the logical models of one of the documents. Here you can see very high level, let's say, conceptual model of the patient summary, showing some key elements and their sub-elements or content. And here you can see also a formal FHIR logical model, which includes actually exactly the same elements. So this is just a different way of presenting. And as I mentioned, because even this is sometimes difficult to explain to physicians, in some cases, I was using rather this simplified model to express the idea. So patient summary includes, presenting form, alerts, allergies, and tolerances. So without any details here. So that's the high-level discussion, which helps a lot in some cases to gather or collect the information from the business knowledge owners, let's say the physicians in this case. So that was one view that I want to share. Another view, lab report. And currently in the implementation, we can see the mapping profiles, and that's the example. And those are not anymore concept maps. Those are just tables. As you can see, we have related laboratory models in this IG. That's the mode of laboratory observation, request, etc. This is the logical part or the business part. And mapping to the observation or FHIR profiles. And mapping details could be then see here. And as I said, those mapping details are now expressed using tabular format. So for every element of the logical model, you can see the relationship type. It's either equivalent or related to something, or even not mapped, as you can see here. At least not mapped in this version of the laboratory IG. And that's the target, that's the target resource, observation, and its inner elements, subject, identifier, etc. So that's just to document how we use the logical models for mapping into implementable specifications. So I will go back to our presentation. Okay, this is another view to the logical model, but I need to be back in here. So time for questions. Don't see any, so I'll move to see the chat. Look, are there any questions in the chat?
I don't see any. I have one though about the use of concept maps. Why in the end did you stop using concept maps? Or
yeah, that's a good question. Simply because the publisher started generating errors.
okay.
So explaining us that the concept maps actually has not been intended to be used for this purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, because they started checking the left-hand side, and if it is not a code system, then it started yielding.
Okay. Because there are several users who can still be interesting, but okay. Good to know. In the room, is there any question? I hope everything was clear and that you see the interest of using logical mappings, logical models, especially as, like Hynek said, a way to discuss between technical people and non-technical people about understanding the concepts that we are actually manipulating. I think you were crystal clear. Perfect. So thank you, everyone.
So thank you for the attendance and your time. Thanks.
Thank you. I hope to see you at the next webinar, guys. Have a good day. Oh, I think there was one. I saw a hand. No? Mistake.
Okay.
Probably.
Thank you,
Okay.
colleagues.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
And thanks, Hynek, for the presentation.
You're welcome.